How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast, we bring you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you trade faster and trade smarter. And today we have a special guest on the line, one of the founding members of Trendspider, and he's going to show us a new tool to help you trade faster and trade smarter.
This is the How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast, brought to you by 10MinuteStockTrader.com, where we give you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you trade faster and trade smarter. And here's your host, voted one of the top 100 people in finance by Redwood Media Group, founder and head trader of 10MinuteStockTrader.com, Christopher Uhl.
Hey there, 10-minute traders, and welcome back to the How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and enable notifications so you never miss any of the tools, tips, and tricks that we upload every single week to help you trade faster and trade smarter. Now today, we have Jake Wujastyk, founding member and VP of Business Development at Trendspider. Now, Trendspider is a charting platform that I actually was recommended to by the trader Steve Burns that I've had on the podcast many times before. He highly recommended this product, and because of that, I had a chance to check it out myself and wanted to reach out to Jake and have them come on the podcast and really discuss it. We're going to be doing a lot of visuals here, so if you guys haven't had a chance to subscribe to the YouTube channel, please make sure you do so so you won't miss anything that Jake and I covered today. So hey Jake, thank you so much for coming on the phone today. I'm really excited to learn more.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's great to be on the show and happy to show everyone what we have that's kind of unique on the market right now.
Yeah, I've had a chance to play with it a little bit, and Jake gave me a demo last week on it, and I will say I was really impressed. Basically, a lot of the, I guess you could say, the brain work that goes into looking at a chart, they kind of do for you, and I like that a lot. Make it a lot easier to understand what's going on, because, you know, to a lot of traders, especially newer traders, looking at a chart, right, you can look at it one way, and I could say it's so bullish, and you could look at it another way, and you could say this thing is completely bearish. And that's where Trendspider comes in and uses data points instead of assumptions and opinions to give you a better perspective.
Exactly. So the system's not there to replace your technical analysis. It's there to complement what you're doing already by hand. And so that's the cool thing. It's not this tool where, you know, it's a black box where it's just, hey, we're going to spit out a bunch of stuff. You can completely customize it to how you look at the chart, and the little things that can be automated which can really be a second set of eyes for you when you're looking at the market. That's how I use it a lot. And the second side of that is really the alert system, which allows you to have a ton of different eyes looking at a ton of different charts at one time.
Gotcha. So I asked Jake to go through and try and find some of the best results that he could. Some of the things that, instead of this being a demo on the podcast, right, we wanted to really showcase what can be done here. So Jake was going to show some of those here.
Yes. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so I'll do a couple things. So we have, I would say there's three main things I want to focus on, and that's the ability to automate trend lines, and I'll go through that very quickly, and the alert system, both on trend lines and the ability to create alerts and then back test them. So quickly, as I mentioned, there is a way to automate the process of different manual processes in technical analysis like trend lines. So in this case, when you turn on the trend button, trend lines are actually already going to pop up on the chart based on different preferences you have. So you can change these to any different type of preference and really get a feel for, all right, this is one of the settings that really works for my style, and then I can go and automate that. We also do that with Fibonacci levels. So you can see right when I click on auto fib, it's picking up these relevant levels based on how the trend preferences are. So those are two unique features, and really it's a way to customize and automate that process of the technical analysis side of things. Now, what you can also do is you can create an alert and apply that alert and see how it has tested in the past. So when we turn off fibs and trend lines and go to indicators, one thing that we could test on SPY right now is the fact that, you know, we are trying to curl here. The histogram is, you know, a little weird. The fast tried to get cross the slow here for a MACD bull cross, but then we continue down. So there's a couple things you can do here. One, if we wanted to be alerted when this did occur the next time, we could go here. Actually, excuse me, that's the strategy tester. We could go here, create a multi-factor alert, and I'd go in from my template. I would then go to the MACD bull cross, and then anytime that cross occurs, I'll be alerted. But let's say that I want to know how this has performed in the past before I create one of these alerts. I can go on here and go to the strategy tester, go to the same thing, my template. This is a MACD bull cross. And then I can either choose an exit criteria that consists of a number of candles, or I can choose an actual script. So in this case, let's do a MACD bear cross. So when I go here, I can choose the MACD bear, which is just the opposite with the fast crossing the slow to the downside. And then I can go and test that and see how that is performed over X amount of period. In this case, this is 2,130 candles. You can also go to, let's say, just the chart, and it will analyze what's just on the chart as well. Now, let's see if we wanted to paint the results on the chart. We can easily do that by clicking See on Chart. And anytime that the MACD has crossed, we'll be able to see that. So anytime there's an entry, that shows when the MACD crossed to the upside, and anytime there was an exit, that's when the MACD crossed to the downside. And so you can see the return, and you can see how each individual event played out. You can do this with a number of different things, though. This is just one very basic MACD cross. If we wanted to go and create a number of different conditions to test, let's say a MACD cross with the price below the SMA 20, we could also do that. One thing that I've been testing a little bit, and I'm not sure how much, Chris, you do with crypto. Honestly, I didn't really do much with it either, but I have started to pay more attention to it. And I did a back test on Bitcoin today on the weekly. That's BT. And it was very interesting. So one of the indicators that I use is the not the Williams percent range, the vortex indicator. I do use the percent range as well, but the vortex indicator is something I use a lot. And it's very interesting because the way I use it is anytime the red crosses the blue to the downside is a signal that there's possibly a reversal in the trend. So I went ahead and did this and tested a VI bull cross here on the weekly.
So real quick, Jake, sorry to interrupt you here. What is a vortex indicator? I honestly have never heard of it, and I don't know how many of the audience out there is familiar with it as well. Is it on every platform? Or is that something unique to you guys?
Yeah, no, it's on a lot of platforms.
Okay.
It was created back in 2010, I think, 2009. So relatively new. It's very similar to the MACD as far as where the reversal signals occur. But in this case, a red crossing the blue would just signal that it's a possible reversal. So you can see how the red and the blue will diverge from each other. The red is the vortex negative, and the blue is the vortex positive. And so when these two diverge and then cross each other, it's generally a point that there's a reversal. So what I did here was I said, all right, well, the red just crossed the blue right here. So let's see how that's performed in the past. And we can do it after maybe 5 candles.
Okay. So folks, this is what I was actually really excited about when I first had a chance to look at Trendspider here. So what he's going to do is he's going to run a back test right here on the screen, right? So on this vortex indicator here, anytime the red and blue cross, he's going to run a back test on that. And that's really cool, right? Just to have it there on the screen and to show the results right there. And this is probably what you were showing with MACD, but I don't think I get a chance to really talk about it and showcase it like you're doing right here. So yeah, this is cool. So watch how he does this and what the results show just right there on the screen, right? You're not having to go to another platform. You're not having to go download other software. You're not having to put anything into anywhere else. You're looking at the screen, you say, hey, I like this. This looks cool. What has it actually done in the past? And then just with a few clicks, it looks like Jake can show you that right there.
Let me kind of show you how I used to do it. So before, I would go to drawing tool, click vertical line, and then I would have to, like you can see here, right? You can't necessarily tell mathematically where this crosses.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself takes a while to really get precise and know, okay, this is exactly the cross. Then you have to go and show that with a vertical line. And then I have to go through and do this for every single cross. And then I have to measure each one and find the average. Instead of doing that, all I have to do is go see on chart, and it's literally. So
that is cool.
So yeah, essentially the vortex negative is crossing the positive, and it's crossing to the downside. So anytime that occurred, this is shown on the chart.
Okay, can we zoom in on that a little bit, and maybe like the last, I don't know, few months or so, where you've got 4 or 5, like on your right-hand side of the screen. Right, there we go. Can we zoom in a little bit more? It's just really hard. It's really small, so I can't read it.
I'm on the 10. I need to change this to the 25. So in this case, I like to use different inputs. So a lot of people like to just use the 14 default for whatever lower indicator they're using, like the RSI. That's kind of the general format. I personally like to use different inputs based on what time frame you're on. So the input that we just tested was the 10. Let's test the 25 now. This will give us the actual reading, since right here it says vortex 25, so we have to make sure that's aligned right here. So now when we do that and test it, it will give us 15%, and then we can see every time that's occurred on the chart, we've gotten the entry and exit.
Oh, look at that. Okay. So
when this occurred there's your entry, 52% within 5 candles, or excuse me.
Can you zoom in on that spot?
This spot, yes.
Yeah, it's really funny for the audience out there that's just listening to see how Bitcoin really was just this little tiny flat line forever and ever, and then just went Mount Everest and blew up.
Yep.
But in the process of that, what Jake is talking about here is several entry and exit points that, using this back tester here, would have resulted in a 52% return, at least on one entry and exit.
Yep, back in October 2013, it was 52% within 3 candles, and then it occurred again in 2015. Within 3 candles, it was about 1.95%. In September, we had a pretty good cross. So for me, when I'm looking at the vortex indicator, and there's a very strong cross with continuation, you generally have a bigger move up. So see here how we had this entry, and after 3 candles, the return was 10% already. But after that, it went as high as, let's see, from there, it increased another 16%. So,
wow.
So it's an interesting indicator. I like to use it on really the weekly and the daily for swing trading. If we go back and look at it again here, same thing. This was a false signal. So you can see how it looked like it was going to be a perfect cross, and then we were still clearly in the bear market, and then just continued down.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, this is clearly not a false signal. We've had a very strong return since. In this case, we've had about escape this case from here to here. It's been 12%, and from the very bottom, it's been a lot more than that. And so you can see here how it kind of diverges away from each other. And then once you get to about the 1.3 threshold is when they start to converge again. And it's an interesting indicator. And it's really it's almost like, positive and negative forces, like moving against each other, very similar to how, like, if we're putting a negative and a positive force against each other. So it's very interesting. It kind of brings the physics side of technical analysis into it. But to be honest, I randomly found it one day, accidentally typed it in, and it was like, wow, this thing's got some interesting signals. And
yeah,
so that's kind of found it.
I was just going to say a little bit. One thing to keep in mind, and I know traders are always looking for action. I was just texting with some of the platinum members at 10minutestocktrader.com because they get my alerts whenever I put on trades. But some of them are saying, hey, you're not putting on trades. You're not putting on trades. If I only traded Bitcoin, you would have seen me trade once between 2013 and 2015. So I mean, you've got to watch your signals, right? And when it did occur, it was like a 50% gain. So, you know what? It's not about just being in the market all the time, finding action. It's about finding reliable signals, using platforms like Trendspider to back test them. And then when they do light up, you've got your alerts set, and then you're ready to go. So that was really interesting. And that's why I want to also tag on that as well. It's not about searching for action. It's about having the right tools in place for finding that action when it does actually happen.
Yep. And so, same thing here. We can kind of see, anytime, and this is on the daily, and this is the 25. I generally, like to use maybe the because you're using different time periods, right? So on the daily, you may want to decrease this to make it more sensitive. So you could go in and you could even make this, I generally would do like a 10, and it will give a completely different signal then. And so now you can see, the last time the red has crossed the blue like this in the past, it's been a pretty decent move up. So we could even go in and test this on the daily, same thing, and very easily kind of test whatever you'd like. If you want
now we could test this for any indicator, not just the vortex strategy.
Yep.
So or the vortex indicator, right?
Say that we wanted to test. I'm a big fan of using the EMA 50 and the SMA 20. Kind of a weird combination, but they do sometimes work pretty well depending on which stock you're on. So, for example, this is one on SPY. Whenever we've had a big move down to the up or downside on the SMA 20, so same thing, go in. In this case, we're on the daily, so we got to make sure on the daily here. And there we go. Condition, the indicator. In this case, it's the simple moving average 20 has crossed down through the EMA 50. And then I can go and test and see what the percent return is. In this case, it's about negative 0.67%, and then we can go and see that on the chart. In this case, we only did after 3 candles. If I wanted to do after 7 candles, that is then going to change the mean trade return. In this case, it's then 1.1%. So this downward cross, which seems bearish, actually in the longer term has not had that much of a bearish kind of statistical mean. So you can go and see that all on the chart. This is the last time it happened, and this is after, 3 candles. So I remove all these, and then I can paint this on the chart, and same thing. So here's our entry right when it crossed, and then within 7 candles, that was our exit, negative 1.59%.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends. If you had any type of moving, there's a golden cross that you want to look for, you can put that in as well. So there is a template library that we've created some of these, like the SMA golden cross 60 minute. So if we went on the 60 minute and tested that, we could do the same thing there. In this case, chart. So that is the SMA. It's the 50 and the 200. So yep, here's our cross here. It crossed, and then here's our exit. So
what determines the exit there? Because it's not crossing back, obviously, for the exit.
The exit conditions in this case is a number of candles. So we have 7.
Okay.
If we wanted to create a script, we could, you could change it to any script. So maybe you wanted the script to be the opposite. So it'd be, the daily SMA 50, or I have the that's the EMA. That's why. Okay, excuse me.
Let me ask you this while you're clicking around there. Can we mix and match here, right? So let's say if we have the golden cross of the 50 and the 200 crossing over to be bullish, can we then use a different indicator, like let's call it RSI of 65 as an exit strategy there? Is it possible to do that?
I say that one more time. I'm sorry.
So if we have the S&P right there, 50 and 200 golden cross that you're showing here as a bullish indicator, and we're testing that, can we then have the exit criteria be a totally different indicator? So example would be maybe hitting a 65 RSI. So we're using moving averages to enter and RSI to exit. Is that possible?
Correct. So
all right, that's how I trade. So that's why I was asking that.
Whatever entry conditions you wanted to create, and then you go to indicator. In this case, it'd be the RSI is crossed up through the constant level of 50, or crossed down, whatever move you'd like to see. Now, you could also have, it's say, in this case, anytime the RSI closes above that level, you'll get an alert, or below it. So we can do the same thing, relative strength index. Or let's say, I don't know if you look at the MACD. For me, like if the fast is less than the constant value of 0, so a cross with 0 line, that could be a signal for me too. So there's, as you mentioned, there's so many ways to look at the chart, and there's so many different tests that you could do. Really, you can do anything. You could even do a hammer if you'd like. So you could go in and say, all right, show me on the chart anytime there is a, not indicator, excuse me, the daily candlestick pattern, and we want to find a hammer. Whenever that's evolved, and we want to say, after 10 candles, what's the return? We can go and test that, see that on the chart. Anytime that there's a hammer, we can see that painted what the return was.
Wow, that is really cool. Okay.
And so,
you know what I like about this, and I had heard this, you could call it a joke before, but it's like, I personally am never going to enter a trade based on an imaginary line that somebody draws on a screen, right? Because you could draw it one way, I could draw it another, and we're looking at the same screen here. What I like about this platform is that everything is numbers and data based, and all the trend lines that Jake brought up earlier, and all these technical analysis for entry and exit. Obviously, it's going to take some time to really get familiar with how to use that, how to best manipulate that for your particular scenario. But once you have a grasp on it, right, you can swap one thing out for another and just find what works for you. I know I asked Steve this on he wrote a book. It's called 50 Moving Average Signals That Beat, Buy, and Hold. And I would assume that he used a lot of your platform in order to create that. But I asked him, I was like, how did you figure out these signals? And he's like, elbow grease. I started with the 5 and 20 crossing over, and then I went to the 10 and 20 crossing over, and then I went to the 15 and 20. And, there's a lot of elbow grease that goes into back testing, right? Do you guys have any sort of like just quick trick, quick tip, quick way to maybe help eliminate some of those potential, dozens of scenarios that you could potentially be in or potentially test?
So, I mean, I would say the best way to really utilize it and kind of be quick is to sometimes use our library. So, for example, we do have these quick templates that have already been created. So, MACD cross up, cross down. So you don't have to really guess what the exact logic is. So
perfect.
So for a MACD cross down, this is the MACD cross down, and that's just it. And this is actually this is good. This came up. This is the old way that we used to do a MACD cross. So right, you have to first define the cross, and then you have to define which way it's going. Now we have the ability to actually just we'd go here, and then the condition would be the MACD fast has crossed up or crossed down. So you don't have to make that secondary condition. It's just It's just crossed up or crossed down. And so this actually just literally got released about literally 30 minutes ago. So that is new. Yeah. Good old Friday.
Look at that. And to point something out there, what Jake is saying is that they're constantly improving and making this better. It's not just here it is, you guys go figure it out. And actually, one thing I was telling Jake whenever I first got into it was it forces you to go through a tutorial. And honestly, I was like, I don't want to go through a stupid tutorial. I'm trying to click off and everything. And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense to have to go through this tutorial, because it's a very dense platform, and dense in a good way, meaning that once you learn it, it's going to be incredible. It's like learning how to trade stocks, right? You can't just walk up on your screen, push the buy button, and be like, millionaire, I knew it. No, I mean, you have to figure out how to do it, and there is a learning curve that's associated with this. And it says when you're getting into the platform, there is a learning curve associated with this. So I'm glad there are a little bit of a quick tricks like that to help get the new person started to get through.
Yeah, and we also have a user guide. We have a ton of different videos that really go over each one of the features. So
great.
That's under just trendspider.com. And then you go to blog, and we have different categories that you can choose from. In this case, you would go to the Trendspider user guide, and you can find all of the different videos and step-by-step instructions through here.
Oh, perfect. Good.
So that's how you can find all that. One thing that I wanted to mention, speaking of updates that's coming out, this is brand new, and this is actually a completely new way to look at candles. This is what we call the raindrop candle.
Okay. Yeah, just looking at it here, I was like, is something wrong with the Skype? It's really messed up looking. Okay.
So a raindrop candle is a candlestick that has price action and volume built into it. So what we have here is so to kind of explain this, we have two sides of the candle, as you can see here. The first side of the candle is the first half of the period. So we're on the daily. So in this case, we have the first half of the day on the left, second half of the day on the right.
Okay.
And these little moves are where volume was within this specific price range.
Okay, so it's kind of like the bar, right?
It's like having your volume down here, but reflected on the price range. So you can see here, in this case, the first half of the day, there was no volume towards the lower part of the day's range. It was all in the middle of the price range. On the second half of the day, you can see how much volume there was towards the bottom of that day's candle. And so you can see, was somebody loading up here, and then the next day it moved up. So the color of the candle is based on the VWAP for that particular half of the candle. In this case, this horizontal line right here is the VWAP for the first half, and this is the VWAP for the second half of the candle.
Okay, so, Jake, real quick, would you mind explaining what VWAP is for the audience?
It's the volume weighted average price. So average price at which the volume was on the second half of this candle, the first and the second half, that's where this little horizontal line goes. So it's really taking into account essentially what the equilibrium price was of each half of the candle. And so you can see here, the left side is higher than the right side. Mm-hmm. And so that means the right side was lower, and that makes it a red candle. You can see here that the right side candle, the right half VWAP is higher than the left, and so you can see it's a green candle.
So what is that purple candle?
The blue dash purple is when the VWAP is equal to each other.
Oh. So we've had two of those in the last week?
Yeah.
What's the chances of that?
It's kind of like a weird doji. So if you go back in time and see anytime these dojis form, these blue dojis, you either have a very big move to the upside. In this case, there was a nice move up after this blue doji, or you have a big move to the downside. In this case, we had a gap down. In this case, we kind of consolidated and moved up. In this case, we gapped down right after. We moved down as well. So it's kind of a signal that there's possibly some type of consolidation occurring for a next leg up. This is literally brand new, so there's a ton of different things that can be tested on this, and there's different patterns that we haven't even found before. This is completely new and something we've kind of introduced. To kind of explain this a little better with a different type of candle, we can see here that the first half of the day was volume that was kind of allocated across the entire price range. The second half of the day, you notice that all of the volume was towards the top of this price range, and then we had a continuation after that.
Yeah, I see that.
So
that's really interesting. I like that.
Thank you. So it's an interesting way to look at volume and price, and it's a new way. It's not taking into account what the open when the close was. It's taking into account what the equilibrium price was for the first half and the second half, and comparing those to give you a red, blue, or green candle.
Huh. Wow. Okay. Man, there's so much stuff to learn about this. I'm glad you guys have those videos, and you know, I certainly would encourage people who are thinking about, you know, checking out Trendspider to go check out those videos to see what all they're capable of, and you know, things like this they just released, and now you've got even more tools under your belt. Wow.
We're really excited, and that's one of the things we really want to be known for, is continually innovating and really introducing features that no one's ever seen. And it's easy to replicate features, but to create new ones that no one's ever seen and to be able to utilize those in a valuable way is something we really want to continue to do.
Right.
And we always love feedback, whether it's positive or negative. It only makes the product stronger, regardless.
Couldn't agree more. Wow. So now you can see why I was so excited to have Jake and Trendspider on, and why Steve is such an adamant proponent of Trendspider. I'm serious. Like, Steve and I were texting one day, and he's like, "Have you heard of Trendspider?" I said, "No." He's like, "You have to check this out. It's incredible. It does the back testing right there on the screen." And Steve is a huge back tester. I don't know if he's like, anything I do, I back test. So yeah, that's really cool. So Trendspider has a really incredible offer for you guys. And the only reason that I bring offers like this on different products is that I believe in them, right? People can try and sell you something all day long, you know, just to make a quick buck. But whenever I see a product like this that I'm using that I think is going to benefit you, I am very excited to share it with you. And Trendspider has this incredible offer, and that's if you use the code 10minute. You've heard me say it before. It's 10 MINUTE. They will give you 20% off any plan for 12 months whenever you sign up using that code 10minute, which is a huge benefit there, right? You're going to get all of these incredible features. It's the full product out there for 20% off for the first year. So I really highly recommend you guys go check it out. Go check out Trendspider. And if you need help, I saw that their customer service is like top notch, right? When I was playing with it just a little while ago, and in fact I can even see it there on the bottom. It says chat with a human. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to learn on this, and they want you to be successful with their product, because when you're successful with their product, you're going to promote it, and you're also going to use that code 10minute whenever you do, right? Anyway, Jake, tell them a little bit more about the customer service so that whenever they do get into the platform, they can figure out how to get in touch with you guys if they need anything.
So whenever you sign up, it's a 7-day free trial. If you feel that you need more time, we are happy to expand that to a longer period of time. And once you are signed up, you have the ability to get a one-on-one, or you can join a webinar, or you can do both. So you can join a webinar. So let's say you have some questions, and then you can sign up for a one-on-one demo and get those questions answered by one of our associates. So there's a ton of different hands to be held along the way, if you will. We really want our users to see the benefit and not get scared of, oh, this is kind of a complicated system. We want to be able to show you the ropes and provide value that's really there. And we've had a lot of great feedback, and we really believe that it is something that can provide a lot of value for people who are looking for a lot of increased efficiency in their technical analysis and charting.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, they will literally give you one-on-one support and training on how to use this if you just ask. So I think that's fantastic, because there is so much. It's such a dense program, like I said earlier. It may take a couple times for you to get in and really start tinkering with it and feeling comfortable and confident and ready to use that as part of your trading arsenal. So Jake, hey, thank you so much for coming on the line today. Now, if they want to reach out to you guys, maybe on social media or anything like that, where can they reach out to you?
At Trendspider on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. And if you'd like to send us a message, you can do so at hello@trendspider.com, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. We are pretty adamant about getting back to you within 24 hours. If not, please send another message, and we will apologize many times and get your issue fixed as quick as we can.
Yeah. Well, this is really cool. Now, guys, remember, whenever you go to Trendspider and check out their free 7-day trial, make sure you use that code 10 minutes so that whenever you do sign up, because you're going to sign up because you love it so much, you get 20% off your plan for the next 12 months. So, hey, Jake, thanks so much for coming on and sharing this incredible tool with us so that the traders out there can have another tool in their arsenal.
Hey, you're very welcome. And that's, the market's all about just having an edge. No one knows what's going to happen, but having the right tools in the toolbox will give you an edge and, make the process at least a little easier to deal with.
Right. Absolutely. Hey, and thank you guys so much for coming in and watching today's episode of the How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. As you can see, we want to bring you more tools like this to help you trade faster and trade smarter. So please make sure you like, subscribe, and enable notifications so you never miss any of the tools, tips, and tricks that we upload every single week to help you trade faster and trade smarter. And I'll see you on the next episode.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to today's How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast. I know you're a listener, but are you a watcher? Make sure you head on over to YouTube, type in 10-Minute Stock Trader, and subscribe to the 10minutestocktrader.com YouTube channel. Every week, I upload all the podcasts as full videos, and that way you're getting the full 10-minute trading experience. That way you can have all the tools, tips, and tricks to help you trade faster and trade smarter. Make sure you subscribe to whatever podcast app you're listening to, and leave me a 5-star review if you don't mind. That would be fantastic. And whenever you're done with that, head on over to 10minutestocktrader.com and download the 1-minute options trading quick start guide. It'll give you all the tools, tips, and tricks that I use in my own portfolio, and it never gets outdated, and it will apply to every single options trade out there. So I think it'll be pretty useful for you. And while you're there, check out the free portfolio page. That'll show you everything that I've traded over the last year in full transparency. And since you're on the website already, check out the free trading course. In this free trading course, I give you every single thing that I know and use in my own portfolio, and I definitely think it'll help you out too. And then, after you're done there, head on over to tastyworks.com and sign up using the code 10MINUTE, that's 10MINUTE, and I'll send you over $150 in free 10-Minute Trader exclusive bonuses from 10minutestocktrader.com. And most of all, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your day. I really appreciate the fact that you and I have connected today and that you've chosen to put me inside your earbuds. That means the absolute world to me. And thank you so much for stopping by. 10minutestocktrader.com content is for information and educational purposes only. It is not, nor is it intended to be, trading or investment advice or recommendation that any security, futures contract, options contract, transaction, or other financial instrument or strategy is suitable for any person. Trading securities can involve high risk and the potential for total loss of any funds invested. 10minutestocktrader.com and Christopher Uhl, through its content, financial programming, or otherwise, does not provide investment or financial advice or make investment recommendations. Investment information provided may not be suitable for all investors and is provided without respect to the individual investors and audience's financial sophistication, financial situation, investing time horizon, or risk tolerance. 10minutestocktrader.com and Christopher Uhl are not in the business of trading securities trades, nor does it direct client commodity accounts or give commodity trading advice, tailored to any particular client situation or investment objectives. 10minutestocktrader.com and Christopher Uhl are not licensed financial advisors, registered investment advisors, or registered broker-dealers. Stocks, options, futures options, and other financial instruments not included here involve risk and are not suitable for all investors. You alone are responsible for making your investment and financial trading decisions, and for evaluating the merits and risks associated with the use of any financial security and broker platform. For more information, please visit 10minutestocktrader.com/legal. And thanks for stopping by.